All right, here we are. Another episode of Salient Points. This one's 108 for April 25th, 2023. I'm Carlos Macias, the master of what, Dalen?
The master of H.R. Geiger's forgotten controversial artwork.
What the fuck, man? Oh, he does the tentacly stuff, huh? Yeah, don't.
The alien.
We know where that went, Dalen.
The xenomorphs.
Oh, it's still much alive. We know where it went to that anime.
I said the controversial artwork. You forgot.
Oh no!
Did you say the tentacles went to the anime? Is that what you mean?
Is the tentacle not controversial? Is that not controversial? You better bring that title, that nickname up, then, because I already forgot it, man. So you better be ready. Plus, you got to remember exactly how you said there's a little chuckle at the end. So you got to remember the chuckle. You didn't fully finish
I remember exactly how I said it.
All right, well, look.
Forgotten controversial artwork.
The man that supposedly remembers everything, Dalen Kirkwood from up in the mountain. Nice of you to show up, Dalen. Thank you for showing up to the show for once.
It's a bit locker in my brain. You just don't know. I'm like an elephant.
Whatever.
I kind of forget some things, but then I get shot with a dart. It's fine.
Well, Dalen, we hope your internet holds up this time around. All right, your mountain internet.
Hey, do not put that on me once again with your internet that was breaking down last time.
We got Dale Blas, the king of Mid-Bay as well. Your teams are tied up right now. Kings Warriors series is kind of nice. It's looking
Still worried.
Could be a little worried, but that inexperience, dude, that inexperience from the Kings is going to get him.
That's a factor. That is also De'Aaron Fox, I heard, has like a slight injury or something on his finger or something.
Now, is it De'Aaron Fox or what? How do you say it, Luis? How do you say his name?
I don't know how do you pronounce it. I just say D-A-A Ron.
D-A-A Ron. D-A-A. Oh, go ahead, Dale, before we introduce Luis here. What were we going to say?
Oh, no, shout out to the Memphis Grizzlies for shooting themselves in the foot and talking hella smack when they have earned absolutely nothing. It's happened to them every single playoffs.
Oh, you gotta appreciate Dylan Brooks when they ask him, like, can we get an interview? He's like, I don't have anything to say right now. And he had plenty to say before. He had plenty to say when it was 0-0, though. But I guess he does. But he does have to back it up. Luis Mendez, the man who always backs it up. Luis Mendez on the wheels of steel. I don't know what that means, Luis. Just take it as a positive, man. Thank you for joining us here.
I love backing it up.
All right. Okay, reasonable. Dalen, don't look at that too closely. Phrasing. All right, phrasing. Hey, well, we'll get right. Well, we'll get it right into the headlines this week. There's the game that kind of blew up the internet in the last week or so. It's called Unrecord. It looks, if you take a look at any of the trailers or any of the footage of it, it's basically a photorealistic police body cam first-person shooter. I know that's a lot of words thrown out there, but it looks interesting. It looks kind of nice. There's obviously a bunch of controversy going around, right? Kotaku wrote it up, and one of their things that they said on their write-up is that they said it's, quote, more of a glorified tech demo than an actual game. That's kind of the assumption, right? Because it looks a little interesting. It doesn't look like you fully you don't fully control the character like maybe in a Call of Duty. It could potentially be sort of like you're literally watching footage. You're literally watching footage and stop and going. But from what we can tell, it looks kind of incredible. I do some of the other controversies though is the fact that people are like, ugh, gotta play as a policeman. I don't know if I like that. But Legacy Killer HD did make a good point. He said, quote, it's kind of funny how people love and cherish their military shooter games, but if you have to play as a cop, it's the end of the world. And also, Digital Foundry looked at the video and they were pretty impressed. They did say that it's just a taste of Unreal Engine 5 surprises to come. And we do also have our resident Twitter fan. We found him on Twitter, Deo. He said he made this statement. He put 3 googly eyes. I don't know if that's what they're called, but the little eye emojis. And he said, "This the most photoreal game ever?" Question mark.
That's how I said it.
That's exactly verbatim off of the tweet. What do you think, Dale? Well, you've been following this stuff. What do you think of it, man? We kind of got a little sense of it, but.
So this was the most news I had all week. Was this real or whatever gameplay of this game? And so I was kind of blown away at first. I was like, there's no way it could look this good. But at the same time, I was like, with the given technology and a lot of filters that we have sometimes these days, I think they could do it. I think that they could do it. The problem is the controlling of it, because if you look, it's like you said, it's not like a Call of Duty first-person shooter kind of thing. It's kind of like you're moving in one direction, but aiming at a certain way while looking and checking corners and everything. And it's really hard to do that with traditional first-person shooter controls. So maybe it has to be like tanky controls in order to do it. I had one of my followers say like, "Oh, it's FMV, and the gun and the arms are modeled, and then you get to control that aspect, but you can't control like where he's walking through in the warehouse and all that kind of stuff."
Yeah,
so.
and you know we have seen an example.
Oh, Unreal, yeah, exactly.
I know, Luis. You just kind of played the new Call of Duty, Modern Warfare 2, right? The latest one, and there's that Amsterdam level that looks kind of effing incredible. If you guys haven't seen that, and you do play through that. So it could potentially be a blend of that, but this is a little tiny French studio out in the world. They're not backed by hundreds of people making the latest Call of Duty, but it's interesting. They've definitely kind of like put it out there, and it's like we'll see when it finally comes out, right? But Luis, what do you make of it? Have you kind of dug into a little bit of the footage, or what do you think?
I find it interesting that this is blowing up now because I follow like game dev Twitter basically. So I saw a demo of this months ago, like maybe half a year ago or something, or longer. And it didn't look as good as this as far as the controls, but visuals still looked good for the environment. And even he was like, yeah, I don't know, I'm kind of bored just trying something out, seeing if I thought it was an interesting idea for a Bodycam footage style game. I don't know if anything will come of it. And then this video comes out like this past week. And everyone starts freaking out, like, "Holy shit, greatest game of all time! It looks amazing," or whatever.
The same thing happened to. Do you guys remember when footage of Ride 4, that motorcycle game, came out?
Yeah, that's another game that kind of got brought up. That's
right?
It's blended in like photorealistic, right?
Super photoreal. But the game came out like a year ago, and like no one talked about it then. Not only until like the internet, it hit the internet that everyone's talking about it.
Yeah, but what were you saying, Luis?
For this, he didn't originally have any ideas for like making this a game, and even still now it's just like barely even a vertical slice. So they've even mentioned, they're like, well, we don't know, we're trying to pitch this to studios to see if they could back us to actually make this thing. So this isn't even really a game yet. Like people speculating about how what the controls are like or this and that or whatever, like it's still kind of up in the air. They're just trying to sell the idea and see if they could get money for someone to help them publish it.
And it's kind of like what
design it.
It's kind of like what I was saying, right? That it's like it looks amazing for whatever tiny team put it together, right? But they're not a Call of Duty team, right? They don't have hundreds of people working. Yeah, and it's not. Yeah, exactly. So we'll see. I mean, it's definitely got people up in arms and excited about it. And yes, on the other side is like, I don't want to play as a cop. But it's funny what you're saying, right? Is that like we don't even. This isn't even a game. I mean, we're not even there yet. But what do you think, Dalen? From you've been kind of following it a little bit, seen some of the footage.
I've seen the footage, but the one thing I did actually follow in this particular case was that comment of the military versus the police thing. And I still say greatest game of being a police officer ever for me was Parasite Eve.
Oh, I thought you were going to say Windbag, Dalen. I was like, don't say Windbag, dude. No, do not say fucking Windbag.
That was my number one, even though there were superpowers. I don't care. But as for the technical part of it, I could see this as a real video game. I mean, the whole reason I even got the PS4 was because 1881 came out. I think that's what it's called, 1881. That game looked beautiful, and I thought that looked super realistic.
I don't know if the number. I mean, it might be the order, right? You're talking about the order, but I don't know if the number's
correct, the order. I can't remember the year. But since then, Gran Turismo really stepped up their game in photorealism. I think that was probably the most realistic game I have seen in, I don't know, ever. But in regards to actually having this tech demo become a reality, they could make it look that beautiful. Keep the sway on your aim really high, and you could actually make it that you are aiming the character while you're actually running through this place. But I'll tell you what, that game is going to be really short.
Well, yeah, it's kind of like what Luis was saying, right? It's mainly a tech demo. Let's kind of drum up some interest and get some money coming in. Let's get that money.
Like you can move and aim, like that's already in their demo. It's not like on a trail or whatever, or a rail,
Rail shooter.
All right, hey, but we'll see. I mean, I'm sure we'll hear more about it. We'll see kind of what the scope of it is. 'Cause sometimes some of these games come out as like, it's a 5-hour game. Don't even worry. This is what
they're gonna do the same thing they did with every single game recently. What was it? Project? I can't remember the name of the game that you played it, where you have the magical powers and
Forspoken. We don't talk about Forspoken on the podcast.
You got Forspoken, Cyberpunk 2077. The fact is that they showed these graphics in very high quality, and then when the game comes out, they dumb that shit down because it can't handle it.
It just can't handle it. It just can't handle. But I will say,
Crisis.
I will say
that for either of those two games, though.
What?
I think Forspoken was dumbed down a little bit.
Was it?
Yeah, I think so.
About the same to me.
Okay, you gotta. I mean, after having played it, it's rough. It's rough in all kinds of aspects, you know. So, but I was gonna say the greatest thing to come out of Forspoken is a little 2-second shot where she slams a book down and she's like, "Fuck." And I have it, and I throw that out there whenever I can, whenever it's upsetting, right? What did I threw it out there for probably a Clipper-related thing, Luis. The fact that Kawhi don't want to play anymore around here, and I shot him that clip of Forspoken where she slams on a book and says, "Fuck." I'm like, I mean, that's how I feel right now. That is how I feel. The other thing last week is that there was a Nintendo showcase, a Nintendo Indie World showcase. Not too much big things came out of it. There was a Mineko's Night Market, Oxenfree 2, Five Nights at Freddy's, Security Breach. But one of the bigger things is that the Bomb Rush Cyberfunk, which is to me kind of, it seemed like it was going to be vaporware forever, finally has a launch date of August 18th. And by the way, if you guys don't remember, it's kind of basically a ripoff of Jet Set Radio. So that finally has a date, August 18th, and I'm kind of excited to play it, sort of. I don't know if I'm excited. I'm just curious, but we'll see what comes of that. Luis, something piqued your interest as far as the Nintendo Indie World Showcase?
There was one of the games that they showed that I forgot about it, not because I didn't care about the game anymore or whatever, but it was just announced so long ago, and they showed it at the showcase and said Oxenfree 2 has an official release date, and it's like right around the corner, like in a month or two. So
okay. Were you the fan of the original? You like the original?
Yeah, okay. I played the original. I didn't play it multiple times because I know you could get like different endings and dialogue options or whatever, but I did really like the game.
You talk about Nier Automata, the amount of times you got to play through it, or I hope not. I hope that's not what you're talking about. Nier Automata amounts of times that you have to play it?
No, it's like you play the game, you get your ending, but if you want to see different outcomes, you can make different choices or whatever. Right. It's not Nier Automata where the game ends like 7 times and you have to play through the credits. Dalen?
Yeah, that game was... I like how Dalen's like, but you're going to have more fun each time. It's like, no. Look, one of the greatest games to come out, it's just a quick teaser, but one of the greatest games to come out this year, Resident Evil 4, I think I might tap out at the second run through of it. Like, and it's incredible, and I love that game. Don't
talk about it later.
Yeah, but it's a quick little teaser. We'll go into quick takes real quick. Dead Island 2, in just 3 days, it has sold 1 million copies, which has come out sort of with some mixed reviews there. But I have my copy. Dalen, you have your copy. You gotta check the mail, man. Sometimes that's just part of being an adult is checking the mail. But Luis, I think, is waiting on his copy, so we're gonna do a little 3-player co-op. What's this? I like the little.
He looks upset. He crossed his arms.
Yeah, I'm getting it. If you guys ain't watching the video,
force you to buy it.
Go back and watch the video. Luis crossing his arms over here.
If you don't want to play that way, don't play that way.
Hey, but it does.
But I already bought it.
So this game, it comes out to like sort of mixed reviews and all that, but we're gonna play because it's co-op, right, as a zombie game. But it sells 1 million copies in 3 days. It's not as amazing as like say Mario movie making $1 billion in a couple weeks or whatever. But I feel like it kind of goes to show you that like zombies culture, fandom, or whatever it's alive and well, man. I mean, even for The Last of Us, right? You would think people would be like, you know, they don't know the pedigree. They don't know the high pedigree of a Last of Us, and they're like, fuck it, shoot it. I'll take another zombie show.
Dude, they still have a zombie expedition in LA. Just people just show up and just randomly.
People love zombies, man.
They do the same thing in Florida.
people love zombies.
One might even say the genre is undead.
I see what you did there. Deo, what do you make of this, man? What do you make of this selling 1 million in 3 days?
It's interesting that you say that, like, compared to Mario, that's not a lot, because I remember back in our day, it's like 300,000 copies of something being sold. That's success. That was like a big time success.
Nah,
and then
inflation.
like right, but it's like weird. It's so crazy to think that like people are complaining if like you said mentioned earlier, the order 1880 whatever.
We gotta find the date, Dalen. We gotta find the date.
Yeah,
go ahead, Dalen.
If it doesn't hit $1 million, same thing with like Days Gone. If it's not these commercial successes, then it's not a success. But
1886.
Oh, see, I knew the number was incorrect. I just didn't know how to correct them on it. But yeah, go ahead, Dale. Go continue.
Oh yeah, no. So I was just thinking that's kind of interesting. I'm happy this Dead Island 2 game is finally out because I heard it was in dev hell for like a long time, and people are still excited about it. It looks great. I think the graphics engine looks awesome, especially considering it's also launched on the last gen console.
Yeah.
So
PS4.
I kind of want it.
I expect them to take. I expected them to take Dead Island 1 and expand on it even more. But they were like, let's just take Dead Island 1 and throw it on PS5. It looks the same to me.
Apparently the gore in it is kind of out of control. So I'm kind of excited to start chopping some characters up.
I've seen like living rooms just filled with blood and like bathrooms just like oozed like Stanley Kubrick style.
We are, dude. We are definitely a society in trouble, dude. With just how like exposed we are to gore. If you guys haven't seen what's the latest Evil Dead Rise, dude, that thing is gore central. So just be ready for that if you guys are gonna watch that.
Or just look at some H.R. Geiger artwork.
I mean, come on, Dalen. What are we doing here? Luis, what do you?
He's gonna make you say it before the end of the
Luis, what do you think, man, about this thing? Or is it just that you're hyped about it coming out?
Well, I mean, if Returnal was a smash hit, then this thing knocked it out of the park.
Right? Exactly. There you go.
So, yeah, I mean, 1 million is a lot, dude. 1 million is a lot of copies sold in 3 days. I don't know why. Is that what was happening? People were like, it didn't even sell.
No, I think that's just my inference. But you're right. You guys are right, dude. Especially, and I was about to say, like, Dale was talking about, like, you know, it's like, oh, back in the day. It's like, well, you just said back in the day. But Returnal was not back in the day. That shit was a year ago. And they were like, 500,000, smash it. I guess that's a little more. People are like, what? 500K, huh? Something, you guys are happy about that. But yeah, 1 million is just, hey, the zombie genre is alive and well, man. In 3 days, that's quite a bit. People were amped about it. What? Anything else?
Forced to add on to it, so. Yeah, no, that's it.
Hey, we just had to. Hey, your version of the Steelbook lease is let's play co-op. Get down with this.
That is not a selling point. I told you.
It's not a selling point. I don't want it.
So what was the selling point? I suppose then. I guess that you're grabbing.
Just FOMO. That's it.
Okay, all right, reasonable.
Just FOMO. Because I missed out on when you guys played Dying Light, so I was like, I'll get on this Dead Island, and if Carlos is beelining it to Critical Path way too much, then I might tap out. But we'll see.
I'll be exploratory. You know, if I must.
The lies
if I must,
we.
I
we're
must,
gonna be running around and suddenly we're gonna get teleported to Critical Point.
Hey man,
we're gonna be like, what happened? I was mid killing a zombie. I lost my weapon.
Hey, we're gonna find a happy medium. All right, we're gonna find a happy medium between Critical Path and like, all right, you guys want to kick over every fucking bucket around this place? Let's do that.
Just slow down.
Let's do that. Let's do that then. Next thing we have on here, I'm freaking dying over here. Shuhei Yoshida, Sony exec, he thinks that AI will ultimately have a positive impact on game development. He says, quote, people might not even need to learn programming anymore. If they have learned how to use these tools of the future, the creativity is more important, the direction, how you envision what you want. I guess he's kind of, you guys didn't have comments on this, but to me, it sort of reminds me of like, I'm an interpreter by trade, I suppose, or, I guess that's what they pay me to do. But it's always funny that it's like, oh, AI is going to take over. And it's like, it's kind of hard trying to figure out when people are cussing you out and trying to interpret that via machine. So it's one of those things where I would assume, Luis, is not that easy to like someone takes over your job as far as like programming or AI. Let's say AI. Or do you think it's possible? Do you think he's on? Mr. Shuhei Yoshida is onto something over here?
I mean, I guess it's possible. I don't know if they can really add the nuance in there, like when people ask you for like feel of how something should play or whatever. But this is already being used as a tool for game development or development in general, where you're like, oh, let me see if they could figure out like how I would write a script to do this. And then sometimes it just works straight out of the box, and sometimes it like gives you a general idea of like what direction to move in. So
okay, interesting. But it's not something that you do see it as a kind of additive, positive thing,
more of
not
just another tool in your belt versus like replacing somebody. That's what people thought like mocap was. They're like, oh, we don't need animators anymore. It's like, no, that's still like half the work. You still need to actually like fix the mocap, you know?
All right. Well, we'll see. Shuhei's kind of excited about it, and I'm glad to hear that you're kind of like, hey, this is a thing that's going to help me or help, the development of games or whatever it is. The next thing we have on here is that Horizon Forbidden West DLC gets review bombed because Aloy is a lesbian, apparently. I thought we had... And I know it's one of those things that online people are like, oh, Sony has forgotten about straight couples and this and this and that. And they were like, wait, what about Uncharted? What about these other games? There's plenty of games that show like straight couples. It's like, so they have it in this DLC. It's fine or whatever. But yeah, it's one of those things that it's pretty much, to me personally, it's kind of like a non-issue, right? It's like people are couples and they're of every kind of, I don't know, configuration, if you will. So it's not a big deal for me, but people were really upset and they're over there review bombing it, I guess. Dalen, what do you make of this, sir? We haven't heard from you in quite a little bit of time.
I make of this the same way I make a Budweiser. Just because they put a trans person in it, you're gonna just completely write them off. What? Same thing goes with this. Just an inkling of being a lesbian. I mean, at some point,
I don't think it's an inkling, though. I was gonna say I don't think it's an inkling. I think it's explicit.
Yeah, I mean, even if it was just a tiny bit, that's what I mean. If it was just a tiny bit, they probably would have review bombed it anyway. I mean, look at how the Last of Us TV show went. As soon as I don't know his actual name, the Ron Swanson. Yeah, as soon as they were gay in the show.
As soon as they were gay in the show. I don't think they like turned on. I think their backstory is that they're gay. I don't think they turned in the middle of the game and they were like, they turned gay. I don't know.
As soon as that episode dropped, that's like the lowest rated episode in the entire series.
That's because it got review bombed by one side. Like those people that just aren't open-minded to the fact that people want to live their lives. Let people live their lives. Whether it be in a video game, on the silver screen, in real life, let people live their lives.
Right.
There you go. Okay, Dalen. Okay, Dalen. I appreciate the political statement here. Luis,
that's what this is.
Luis, what do you think?
I just wish that out of this we got a video of Kid Rock taking a huge stack of Horizon Forbidden West titles and just taking like an MP5 at it and just shoot it down.
Hold on. I actually just watched the last episode of John Oliver, and he brought up that particular commercial. He slowed it down. Even though he's shooting his assault rifle at the beer cans, he also has rockets coming from the right side of the screen. Put more explosions.
He's gotta make it nice.
Most of the bullets.
He's gotta make it nice. He's gotta make it nice, man. He's gotta make it. Look, so out of this controversy, I don't know if you have anything else to say on that particular thing, Luis, but Horizon Forbidden West sequel, they pretty much confirmed it. It's in the works, and they're also kind of doing a multiplayer spin-off. But I don't know if you had anything else to say on the Aloy, being gay situation. Go ahead, Luis.
Yeah, it was... At this
point,
you not
know her name, Carlos?
It's Aloy, but at this point, I'm just like,
Aloy?
You said Aloy.
Like that.
Do reviews even matter anymore, dude? Like, do reviews even matter anymore at this point?
I don't know.
Because all it takes is like for both sides. Someone really likes it for whatever reason, or really dislikes it for whatever reason. It can go either way pretty quickly. So it's like you can. What is like the last safe haven, I guess you would say, for like video game reviews or something? Because you can't really go to Metacritic anymore or whatever.
It's kind of the aggregate, but understanding what the aggregate is, right? Because we kind of were going through this with like the Hogwarts Legacy stuff, where the way that got curtailed a little bit is the fact that it was access, right? Like Warner Brothers was like, these guys kind of have this slant against us, Wired, and I think maybe Kotaku or these other ones. Like, they will not have access to this game, right? So they kind of gave the game to people that would give them a fair shake. And then what happened when the floodgates opened and people got the copies of the game, whether it was retail or they finally got a code or whatever it was, they reviewed bombed it officially, right? Like, Wired was like, it's 1 out of 10 because of fucking J.K. Rowling, all right? It's like, look, you can be influenced by it, I think, right? But it's like you're gonna give it 1 out of 10 just based on like it doesn't have no mechanical merit, right? Like, so it's one of those things where you look at the aggregate, but understand what you're looking at, man. At least that's how I do it, anyways. I don't know what you guys do, but I that's what I do, and it's kind of like I look, publication by publication.
You cracked me up because my brain was like going to an ice cream parlor and be like, I didn't like your peanut butter cup ice cream, and I'm allergic to peanuts. Like, hold on, did you even eat it?
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. Dale, I think you were gonna say something, or are you good?
No, well, both points that Carlos, you and Luis brought up are very good points. Like, it's like where is like a
Dalen, that's fine.
We laughed, Dalen.
But
we laughed
to say more about what you said, Dalen. But back what you guys are saying, like Luis brought up good points. It's like, yeah, what's like the most reliable place for reviews? Even though Hogwarts Legacy got review bombed and was like okay, I guess, in the scores or whatever, that thing sold like gangbusters regardless. Like
they did fine.
Yeah.
They did absolutely fine.
Well, even Dead Island 2, right? Like it sells 1 million copies within 3 days, and it's kind of mixed reviews right now, right? So.
Right. So it's just
how long has it been since the last one? It was like 10 years or some shit.
Dalen, let Dale finish his point.
Yes, it was. I don't even know what I was thinking about anymore. I'm sorry.
He stepped on his line, and now he doesn't know what the line was.
Part.
Come on, Dalen.
I don't even remember.
What are you doing? Well, look, if you remember, go ahead and bring it up, Dale. Luis, so what do you think about the sequel, and that's kind of confirmed? We're getting another one, and apparently, oh man, Lance Reddick, he's gonna be central part of that, so that's gonna be interesting to see if they replace some of his lines, or all those lines are put down already, which seems a little doubtful that all the lines are put down. But what do you think about I guess the sequel that's confirmed now?
You know, all that being said, what we just said earlier, like what Dalen said, let people be themselves, who gives a shit kind of mentality. I don't really care about a sequel or spin-off to this, honestly. Like I thought the first game was generally okay, pretty good. Like I didn't have anything really negative to say about it. And then the second one, like I mentioned before, I played it, and then I was just kind of playing it because it was the new game that I had after a while. And after a while, I was just like, this story is just not hooking me in. So I completely stopped, and I still haven't gone back to it, and I don't really care to go back to it at all. Yeah. But if it's successful enough for them to make a spin-off, then, hats off to Guerrilla, good for them, but...
it kind of, the engagement kind of falls off on each one. I think in the first one it had a direct competitor with the Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, dude. Like that's why I stepped away from it. Like, wait a minute, new Zelda's over here. And even that game I stepped away from it as well. But it had a direct competitor at the time. Now it was kind of all by itself. It was like a February release, or wait, damn.
No,
it was Elden Ring. That's right. Elden Ring was the main competitor.
They did not avoid that blast radius.
They were not successful at dodging that shit for sure. But it's one of those things that it must be successful enough. Kind of what you were saying, Lisa. It must be successful enough that they're like, fuck it, let's pump another one out. But that's confirmed. The other thing that's kind of not confirmed, actually they confirmed of not doing this, Division 2 will not be getting a current gen version. Ubisoft says that's quote unquote unlikely. The main thing is that they don't want to leave players quote unquote behind, which I don't know, man. I don't know if I like that. I don't know if I like that answer. But what do you think, Dalen? What do you think about this, man? That they're like, they will not give us a PS5 or Xbox Series X version.
Quite honestly, the way that game is built, honestly, I have a hard time verbalizing this because I have a love-hate relationship with this game. On one hand, they were trying to be the more realistic version of Destiny when it dropped because they came out around the same time, and it's been ongoing since that point. And they had the whole transition from PS3 to PS4. And you, Carlos, you even tried to roll with us. But as soon as you dropped in, you got the highest level gear and dropped out. And for that game, it's kind of hard to want to continue it. They have their whole dark zone area where you could go in and get awesome gear with new perks. But every time you try and get gear, there's just people running around just murdering other players. I mean, there was a fun factor that was missing from that game, but they still have a large enough fan base to keep the game going. So if they move to PS5, that fan base that may not have had enough money to actually get a PS5 or may have missed the boat when it launched, most of their fan base may just be stuck on PS4 right now.
Yeah, that's also kind of one of the things, right? That they don't see like a fervor or enough of a fervor to be like, people want it on PS5. They need it. I think they need people need it on PS5 or Xbox Series X, right? And maybe they're not seeing it. They're like, we're not seeing that. Go ahead, Dale.
What you got, Dale?
Right,
okay, Dale, what you got, Dale?
I got a quick question. It's very technical because I'm stupid about those things. Does smart delivery like not work on a title like this or something, or does this not applicable at all?
That's a fair point. I don't think so, man.
What do you mean?
It's smart deliveries on Xbox, Dale, and on Xbox, what depending on the version that or the console you're playing on, that's the version you're gonna get. But yeah, I don't think so, Dale. I don't think because smart delivery, I'm assuming would be like there is a better version of it available for you to get, right?
Like already existing.
It exists,
and then they would
right?
just transfer.
Yeah, but I would think it's just like plays better, kind of, so it loads a little quicker. Luis, what do you make of this, man?
Well, I didn't hear about this part. What I had heard was that they went a step further. I'm not confirmed. I'm putting a disclaimer here. Dalen, this is how you do it. And that they said that they're not even thinking of making a sequel to this, like a Division 3.
I was gonna say that. I was like, they could make a Division 3, which would jump into the next console, but then they would be splitting their fan base, and their whole team would be split, and they'd have to work on both games at the same time, kind of like Destiny 1 and Destiny 2. And I know they don't work on Destiny 1 the way that they used to, and most of their focus is on Destiny 2. But in this case, if they did that, most of their focus would still be on Division 2.
Yeah, I think
that's where all their
if that's part of it, Luis, could potentially be that they're not even working on a sequel to them. They're like, stop asking us about it. I mean, we're just not. They're being nice. They're being nice.
But then they did recently announce that they are working on like a game that's within the Division kind of universe. It's the Division Heartland.
Oh, that's right.
And it's not being developed by Ubisoft. It's published by them, but it's developed by, what is their name? Red Storm Entertainment.
Yeah, and
so it's kind of like an extraction shooter similar to like Escape from Tarkov, that kind of thing. Where like you go in with the loadout, you go into a zone, you have to leave the zone with all the gear and pickups you got to actually like lock it in and make it yours.
You mean like the Dark Zone?
Pretty much, yeah. I think they're taking their Dark Zone, but I mean it's more similar. They have kind of compared it more closely to like Tarkov. So
that's probably like the direction they're taking it in, right? And they're like, please don't ask us about it. Just keep playing. Just enjoy it over there. Just enjoy it over there. Enjoy it over there. The other thing is we have on here is that there's gonna be a Call of Duty board game. The funny thing to me is, well, it's first of all, it's set in 2019 Modern Warfare era, so you got to go back to that time zone. But to me, it's kind of funny that they're doing a Kickstarter, which I'm forgetting. Maybe Deo, maybe you can help me here, but I know they've done this sort of nonsense before where they're like, obviously you guys have the money for it. Why are you doing a Kickstarter for this thing? I don't think it was Shenmue. I think they needed every penny for that. But there might have been a Bloodstain.
Are you talking about
No?
Oh, yeah, Bloodstained. Yeah, that was one of them.
Where it's like, you could have gotten this published. Why are you going to the fans for this? But apparently they're doing...
a different situation.
Was it Bloodstained? It was 2? Bloodstained 2, was it?
One of these. But
there's only one Bloodstained.
But the funny thing to me is that they're using a Kickstarter instead of Call of Duty developers or the publisher be like, no, we're going to put this board game. It's like, we're making it, but Kickstartered it. Yeah.
They could afford it.
So that was a wacky thing to me about this. It's like, so we'll see what the Kickstarter does in the fall.
The time that we talked about this board game being on Kickstarter, they made that much money to be able to fund it. Like,
they've already made it. What the hell is this knuckleheadedness? So yeah, there's so it wasn't Bloodstain. It wasn't. I remember one game where it's like, obviously you guys get the money for somewhere, but you guys are fucking around and Kickstartering stuff. What was it?
Was it Dead Cells?
Shenmue
definitely was one, but that was like because of fan demand, and they didn't.
Yeah, and I think Shenmue definitely needed like every penny, dude, to make that game.
Bloodstained was a Kickstarted game. That is true, but it wasn't like Konami was out there like, you know what, go somewhere else and go fund this game. No, it was a small portion of the Castlevania team that they had already separated from. And that small team decided, hey, we want to get another game out there because we want a spiritual successor for Castlevania. Since Konami is out here messing up, they got rid of
I mean, we know what
people.
we know how Kickstarter works, Dalen. I guess that the thing that the thing to me was that there was something that came out, but we'll come back to it at some future point if I ever remember it or whatever. But it was one of those things like you guys can obviously go to a publisher, but you're not doing it. And like Luis kind of summed it up right now. They already in the last 10 minutes or 5 minutes or whatever it was, they already have the money that it is to fund this thing. But what else? We'll see. They got a Kickstarter if you guys are interested. Apparently they're trying to bring like the visceral feel and all that of the game to a board game. So good luck to them. Good luck to them.
And to be able to distribute it, you're definitely going to need a good amount of money.
I'm sure they have it, but they want to take it from the fans. So the next thing we have on here is that some people got the copies of Star Wars Jedi Survivor out there, and on the front of the cover it says download required. The note I have on here is 155 gigabytes. Let's fucking go. Luis, how you feeling, man? I think you just upgraded your hard drive, so you'll be fine, right? Or didn't you on your PS5 or something?
Oh yeah, I'm not worried about the actual memory footprint itself. I'm more just like, I get it. These games are huge, and I'm all for I put the disc in and it's installing it so it runs faster or whatever. But then having to put in a game and then wait for 155 gigs to download.
Yeah,
that's crazy. Like this just happened to me with Modern Warfare, where I got the game and I was like, installing game, downloading update. I was like, all right, kind of let it do its thing. Then I go to the game, start the campaign, and it goes, you're missing the campaign pack. Mm-hmm. Okay, let me download the campaign pack. That was another 15 gigs or whatever.
Yeah.
And then a week later or something like that, after I finished the campaign, I'm like, all right, well, let me jump into multiplayer. I guess that's what downloaded when it downloaded. You're missing both multiplayer packs. It's like, what the fuck is going on here? Like, you have to download everything.
The fun part,
sections.
The fun part about the campaign, and it was like 3 parts too. Wasn't it campaign part 1 and 2 and 3 or something like that? It was out of control.
I don't know. I only downloaded one.
It was out of control. Dude, I don't know if it's gonna be 155 gigabytes, but from what I understand, that's like the entirety of it. So some of it could, and it's on PC, but I feel like they're pretty close, right? The console and the PC, or maybe I don't know. Maybe they can optimize it a little bit better on console. But what do you think, Dalen? We'll get to you.
Well, you were saying this downloading in portions part, and you just reminded me of the very first game I actually experienced that with, and it wasn't a Modern Warfare game or a Call of Duty game. It was actually Metal Gear Solid 4. I remember I was playing that game, and you get to the next chapter, and it puts you on that loading screen where it's like a bunch of TV channels, and it's got to install the game. You know what I'm talking about?
Damn, dude. And that was rough. Those were rough times trying to install something, dude. Oh, man.
I think the install time and the full motion video stuff was like longer than the first 3 hours of gameplay. Itself.
Shit's out of
control. But we're this many years past Metal Gear Solid 4, and we're still dealing with, you gotta wait and download it, and you gotta do it in sections. I'm like, come on, guys. You can fit all this on one disc, let it install, and be good. That's why you buy a physical copy, so you don't have to be online, and you don't have to keep doing updates. What if somebody doesn't have the internet, and they just want to play a game? You can't even play the game if you don't have the internet.
Just can't.
Oh, man. That's
to be fair, though, Dalen, who doesn't have the internet, man? To be fair. But that's
maybe
a fair
point.
Went
Camping.
Poor people, or people who got mad at Spectrum.
Poor people,
yes,
or
poor people.
Dale,
or you just moved Dale, didn't have internet for a while.
Right. Sure. This is my job related, but we do have a project in California. If you are poor or have low income and you do not have internet, Caltrans is building something called the Broadband Mile Project, where we will build internet for you all along our freeways. And if you're close by, you get free internet.
Ooh.
Freeway Wi-Fi? Freeway
Wi-Fi.
So if you're stuck in traffic, you need data for some crazy reason, for whatever, you got it. That's what
I just got into a car crash on the I-95.
Oh, there you go. That works too.
Exclusive.
Hey, my phone won't drop anymore mid Pokestop.
Dale, you know it's gonna be. I'm gonna title this video "Call Trans Exclusive," right? You understand?
No,
don't do it. Don't do it. Don't do
but one more time, Dale. What was the name of that project? I'm just curious.
It's literally it's called the Broadband Mile Project. You could search it online, and it's a big thing going through Sacramento and headquarters right now. So it's coming.
Shout out! Let's put that in the description.
That's why we call him the King of Mid-Bay. That's why we call him the King of Mid-Bay. Yeah. So that's what's going on with Star Wars Jedi Survivor. I'm trying to beat the first game right now. It's pretty fun. But look, no spoilers. Little teaser for what you've been playing. The next thing we have on here, of course, is that the Arcane founder. Man, I should have put his name. I didn't put his name in. But Arcane founder, he says that Deathloop originally was an experimental project in case Bethesda didn't want a Dishonored 3. So that's kind of cool to think that it's like that came out of that. They're like, let's build something. Do they want Dishonored 3? And they knew that Carlos was gonna say no, I do not want that. And they knew that Bethesda was going to have my back on that. But, Luis, what do you make of this, man? I don't think it's too surprising to hear games evolve that way, right? Or like, I know maybe Portal was like that, right? And there's been, I'm sure, like, throughout the history of video games where, like, there's offshoots of, like, oh, that became its own thing. But I guess what do you think about this specifically?
Yes. Well, I guess for you it was a lose-lose because you don't want Dishonored 3 and you didn't like Deathloop. So
that's fair.
It was a win because that was the greatest arcane game I have ever played. My favorite one of all time. Okay. To be fair though, I've only ever played Deathloop and Prey 2. So
and even fans of arcane-ass arcane games, I don't think they were super big fans of Prey 2 either. But go ahead, because I know Dalen wants to step on your line real quick. But anything else?
Oh no,
I'm gonna shut up.
Floor is yours, Dalen. I was done.
Okay, Dalen. Okay, Dalen. Okay, Dalen.
No, I was literally done with what I was gonna say. But
I'm not worried.
Let me just make some shit up then. Arcane founder. What do you guys think his name is?
What do you think his name is? I should have put it.
We're just gonna spitball this real quick.
Me putting it on the rundown. I'm pretty sure I meant to go back and put his name down, but here we are. Arcane founder. That's what he said. Dalen, this was a win-win for you. Are you a fan of arcane-ass arcane games or?
I'm one of those people that if I have not necessarily played a game, I can't really talk crap about it. But in this case, I played Deathloop, and I cannot say it's a bad game. It's honestly a very excellent game, even if it was supposed to just be an experimental thing. And I know Dishonored was a good game. It just wasn't my cup of tea. So I would honestly love for them to actually make a Dishonored 3 just to see what comes out of it. At this point, they might as well have their own personal type engine, kind of like Resident Evil does, or Capcom, how they have an RE engine. They basically have groundwork for a bunch of different games they can make.
I think it's proprietary. From what do you know, Lisa? If it's proprietary, I think it is a proprietary engine that they're using for these arcane games and Deathloop and all that.
2.
Or are they? I don't know.
I don't know for sure, but it wouldn't surprise me if they have an in-house engine.
Yeah, it seems very particular.
Didn't they do Thief? Didn't Arcane do Thief?
I believe
the remake of Thief.
I believe so. Yeah, they go back, dude. They go back. They've been making these kind of fucking. Cool. They've been making these kind of fucking ass arcane games for a while. All right, so yes.
The most arcane-ass arcane game you've ever arcade.
Hey, but okay, hey, but Redfall is almost here. And we did promise, at least we're gonna play. I think it's next week, man. So we got
you guys are gonna have internet though.
4-player co-op, I think, right? Deo, gotta join us, man.
Oh yeah.
Gotta join us. We finally got a game maybe that we could play co-op. I think it's 4-player. I would think.
Wait, when's that supposed to drop?
I think in a couple weeks, in like 2 weeks.
Wait, is that Zelda too? Is that Zelda week or? Is
Zelda week is the week after that. So
I feel like we have a blast radius we're missing.
Zelda's after, man. Just
is it? Okay.
Yeah, just dip in there.
Hey, you have 1 week to beat that game.
Yeah, dip in there, Deo. If you must leave because Zelda's out, and that's like the little meme online or whatever with the guys looking at the other girl. We understand. We understand if you gotta.
You understand, right? Yeah.
Luis, I know you put it up. Say his name. Just say it one time.
Rafael Colantino.
There you go.
There it is. That's our key founder. Next thing we have on here, of course, is that last week Capcom did drop a Street Fighter 6 demo that's available on PlayStation 4 and PlayStation 5 only for now, so no Xbox. And they did confirm that they did confirm the first 4 DLC characters. And the funny thing about that, so I know, Dalen, I think you're going to talk about that and what you've been playing. So another quick little teaser, right, about what you think about Street Fighter 6. But the interesting thing to me is that King of Fighters 15 is also offering a free demo on Sony consoles. And I was like, wait. And they're like, oh, the data doesn't transfer over. And I was like, wait, when did this game come out? Oh, it came out February 14th, 2022. So it's been out for a year. And they said, let's get in on this Capcom releasing a demo action. And we also have a demo. Can we present you with this demo situation over here? You had something to say about that, Dalen. Is that kind of a similar thing? It's like, okay, all of a sudden.
Yeah, and so I'm not going to talk about the actual demo for Street Fighter 6 as of yet. I'm going to wait until we get to the end. But when it comes to this comparison between Street Fighter 6 and King of Fighters, they've actually been doing head-to-head competition since like 98. Right, or even earlier than that, like 1992. They've been going for years, and then when SNK started to drop off the map, Capcom and their Street Fighter just skyrocketed. Obviously, SNK is just trying to make a comeback. So let's drop a demo with Street Fighter 6 and see if people actually will jump on board once again. Because I'm sure not enough people bought King of Fighters 15 when it dropped, because everybody was excited when they heard about it. But then so many other fighting games was coming out at the same time. They had Guilty Gear was coming out, Blaz Blue, all these other fighting games were actually coming out at the same time. I even think Soul Calibur 6 came out.
We don't need the whole list, Dalen. You can kind of get to what you were going to say about King of
Fighters. Just because you don't like fighting games doesn't mean you don't have to list.
I just don't like list of 20 games, Dalen. I do not like a 20-game list. I just don't like it.
I listed 3.
You were going for 20, though. You were going for 20.
I was going to stop. It's fine, Carlos.
He was halfway there.
He was halfway.
He was going for 20. All right, let's talk about Tekken 5, 6. All right, no.
That's what I'm trying to tell you.
But the fact is, they're just trying to stay competitive and putting this demo out for people to be able to play. And I highly advise anybody who likes fighting games to try and actually pick up King of Fighters, because even though it's more technical, it's still an extremely fun game. I actually did play a live version of King of Fighters 15, and it's still fun as hell.
Wait, you don't have a copy yourself, Dalen, of King of Fighters 15?
I rented it. Take it back.
Reasonable. Okay. That's a glowing praise right there.
No, see, my problem is I don't have enough people to play fighting games with, because Carlos don't play fighting games. Dayo's not online at the same time. Bullets. Luis disappears.
Why we catching strays over here, Dalen?
Everybody catching strays.
Come on, what the hell, Dalen? Next thing on here is that the Xbox says that they're working on a mystery sequel that could take as long as a decade to make. I don't think we have any hints or any kind of things going on about that. I guess they just wanted to let the universe know about that shit. But it's not surprising, I don't think, right? These games are getting longer and longer and longer to develop. We're just getting Dead Island 2, right, after maybe like 9 years in development or something like that. So, but what do you make of this, Lisa? That Xbox is out like, we're working on something?
Nah, I just love that this wasn't even necessarily them stating this. I just love that we're getting all these insider things from all these game companies in court right now.
That's where this came from. Okay, yeah. Okay, nice.
For whatever reason, this was necessary as part of the I don't know,
the coverage.
I guess this makes sense. So
the judicial process.
Like we need more titles, maybe, because it's going to take us 10 years to develop this sequel. But yeah, I guess the quote here is they were talking about how long games take to make, and it says a forthcoming title from the Redacted franchise may take a decade to develop. They're talking about AAA games taking forever to develop.
They're fucking talking about Forza yet again, dude.
I like Banjo.
We're talking about fourth in the series. We already got Forza 5.
Oh, you're getting a Banjo sequel, Dale. I don't know if you've seen the footage, but that new Breath of the Wild sequel, the Tears of the Kingdom, that's your Banjo-Kazooie nuts and bolts, man. Please enjoy.
Zelda nuts and bolts.
Zelda nuts and bolts. Please to enjoy, all right? You're getting it that way. Anything else on that?
Missing their like release windows so badly that they're like, it's going to take us 10 years. And then if we release it before that, they'll be happy. They'll be happy that it didn't take us 10 years.
All they got to say, dude, is like, do you motherfuckers keep wanting 30 frames per second? We can get them out there. We can get them out there at 30 frames. At 30 frames. If you want 60, give us 10 years. Give us a decade, please. The last piece of news we got on here is that Humanity from the Tetris Effect developer Enhance is coming May 16th. It's going to be a PlayStation Plus extra game. So I think that's when I kind of upgrade the last, I don't know, remaining time I have on my subscription to grab this Humanity game.
$3.
It looks pretty damn cool. Dale, it's piqued your interest. Are you a Plus Supreme subscriber, or will you upgrade to an extra when this comes out?
I am not a premium whatever subscriber. I'm just a normal tier. I'll probably just buy this one outright, just because I like supporting Enhance, the company Enhance, and like when Shuhei like retweeted like the video of this, it looks bonkers. It reminded me of Choo Choo Rocket, if you remember that from Dreamcast.
Yeah, days. I didn't play it, but if I'm willing to get a spiritual.
I was like,
successor.
oh, it's a little wacky. It has like crazy lemmings stuff going on, maybe some Pikmin action going on. So with humans, so I was like, yeah, that looks bonkers. I kind of like the aesthetic of it too, because Enhance is all about like the light show and the music coming as one.
The synesthesia.
Some sort of gameplay. The synesthesia, correct. Yes, there you go. So yeah, I'm excited. I'll probably just buy it outright, honestly, at this point.
All right, I'll upgrade. I'm like, I love me these little PS Extra. They've convinced me.
You don't have to. I don't think you have to.
They've convinced me twice. This will be the third time that they'll convince me to kind of upgrade. But we'll see how that happens. Look, we're gonna do something a little unrelated real quick, and then we'll get to what you've been playing. Sort of, kind of related, right? We're all on Twitter. So Twitter is apparently giving blue check marks to those with at least 1 million followers, and also like people that are sort of affiliated to big brands. One of the examples is, of course, like Rod Ferguson, who's a general manager over there at Diablo at Blizzard. He gets his blue check mark because he's related to Diablo. so you get it for that too, or the 1 million follower range. I do like Dan Rather, who's a journalist out there. If you guys have heard of him, he did put out a quote saying, quote, "So the blue checkmark saga continues. I guess it's been gifted back. Not digging this new season of Twitter. It long since jumped the shark. Good night. Peace to all." I kind of enjoy that little situation. I'm not appreciating the latest season of Twitter. Dalen, I do like how you have commentary on this, Dalen. You're barely on Twitter. But please, I want to hear it.
But the news is all over the place. And you're over here talking about affiliated to big brands. Yet, the Pope can't get a blue check mark.
It's not a big enough brand. It's not a big brand. It's not a big enough brand, Dalen. It's not a big enough brand. They've been declining, man.
You gotta help me.
They've been declining in popularity.
A big brand?
Christianity is not a very popular brand anymore. Sorry, guys.
You're right, Dalen. When you're right, you're not right a lot of times, Dalen. But you're right. When you're right, you're right. But was that it, Dalen? Was that the comment?
I just wanted to point that out. You got to get 1 million followers. The Pope definitely has 1 million followers, but they're like, nah, you don't get a blue check mark.
That's rude, man. That's just rude.
Disrespectful, man. Disrespectful.
Luis,
you better pay your $8.
Luis. Apparently, Elon Musk is paying people's $8. Like LeBron, I guess, is one person. Like a bunch of different people. Like, I'm not paying for mine. Elon is paying for it. Luis, what do you think, man? What's your thoughts on this?
Yeah, like how there was like leading up to that whole "we're taking check marks away, you need Twitter blue," and LeBron makes that tweet of like, "If you know me, I'm not spending $8 or whatever. Like, screw that," or whatever he says. And then immediately after the date, everyone's like, "Wait a minute, what the fuck's going on? You got a blue check mark."
This nigga's got a blue check mark.
What's up with this, LeBron? What's up with this?
Elon was just like, "Nah, I'll spot you. I'll spot you." And then they started coming back for everybody randomly. It's like, okay, I guess everybody gets him back.
I know someone was out there mentioning how I was like, this is crazy. The fact that people are like, I am not paying for this. Like, people are actually like coming out, right? Like,
they have to explain themselves.
Because people are like, why are you paying that? And right, people are like, I'm not. Elon is. Elon's
now. What did people start moving to? Mammoth or something like that?
I think they're still. The thing is,
same time. Thank you.
The thing is, Twitter is still good. At some point it won't be, and then you move on. And then
the content and the people are good. That's the thing with Twitter. It has it. Yeah. Whereas like Mammoth,
man,
those other
Twitter is a
platforms
shit store walking into the mud. All right, you're just not gonna find it.
Into the mud, indeed.
Yeah, Twitter doesn't have that MySpace to Facebook competitor yet.
Very true.
Everyone's still on MySpace, dude. Now.
There it is. And so we'll move on to what you've been playing. We'll go into what three of us. We have all these kind of interesting combinations of a couple of us have been playing different things at the same time. We'll go with the three persons on the panel first. Me, Dalen, and Luis. We beat a dungeon in Destiny 2 in the last week. I think it's the latest one. I believe it's called Spire of the Watcher, Dalen. Is that correct? Is that the dungeon we played? We spent a lot of time on that dungeon, man. It was at least like 4 or 5 hours of like, what do we do next? What do we do next? But I think it was cool.
We had to look up one thing. Other than that, it was pretty easy.
Oh, we would have been on that shit the whole night, dude. We needed to at some point, like, what is the strat here? But I liked it, man. I kind of like the dungeon aspect of it. It's basically a mini raid, right? So you kind of get this feel of a raid, but it's only like 3 people instead of 6. And it gives a little bit of bonding time. You know, we got to hang out and play it.
You know what I like the most about it is you didn't have the revive coins, because if we had those revive coins, that would not have worked out, because those bosses were bullet sponges. They took forever to kill.
Yeah, and I mean one of the big things, of course, is the respawn time in it. When you die, when you go down, it's 45 seconds. Like, oh, I don't want to die. I don't want to, because I need to be alive for this. But other than that, what did you? It was a cool design to the dungeon, right? It's like we're going down a tower and then up a tower, and it's kind of like very
you're going up the spire and back down.
And we kept talking about how it's like, you know, one of the mechanics of the dungeon was that we have to kind of follow like piping or whatever it is, or tubes, and it's like, this is the worstly engineered system ever. It's not standard. There's cables going all over the place. Who built this? Because it's definitely not standard at all. There's just pipes going all over the place. But it's kind of cool that you're like following. As cool as that, I don't know how cool that sounds, but it was kind of cool to be like, okay, this goes up and down. There's 2 next to each other. There's like, you're following, like you're trying to shoot the conduits or whatever it is. What
video game logic?
It's video game logic, and it was pretty fun. What did you think of it, Luis? What did you think about this? Is this the first dungeon that you beat, or
the first we finished? Okay. Yes, we almost finished Duality.
No, we got to go back to finish that one. Before this, you wouldn't have the Gallahorn if you didn't finish that dungeon.
Okay, well, I finished something, dude. I guess.
I guess that's.
All I know is there was one with light and dark, and I don't remember finishing that one. But that was
no, we did finish that one.
Well, anyways, what do you think of this one, Luis? What would you make of this dungeon?
Yeah, it was fun. It was good. I'm surprised that we looked up a single thing and we were actually on the right path, but just didn't get that last final piece of it. But yeah, those bosses, they were taking a lot of hits, man. That first one specifically was like, I like how at one point Carlos and I were like just kind of chilling in the room, like we finished the whole thing, like, oh, piece of candy, and then Damien's like, guys, it's this way. Like, we still have to keep going.
There's still another half to go. But yeah, it's pretty fun. Dalen, anything else before we go to what Luis and Dale have been playing?
Well, I had a comment simply because it popped in my head. Yes, I'm going to go off script here. Years ago, I actually made the same comment about another game. I said, who built this place? I was playing Prince of Persia, and I was like, this is not how a palace should be built.
Nobody's building it now.
Yes. Well, how do you get from the main hall to the garden by going across all these traps and pitfalls and swinging across poles? Nobody's going to ever get to the garden. There's no birds, nothing. Why do you have this? And I'm thinking about this while I'm playing Destiny. Sometimes, like, this makes no sense. Why is this here?
It's part of the
mechanics. It's best not to think about it. It's best not. Like, I seriously think about that every time I play like an Uncharted game or a Tomb Raider game. I'm like, this is the stupidest like layout for like a palace or whatever of all time. Like, why would you do this? Who reset all these booby traps when I'm gone? Like, someone's gonna reset it. Like, who's doing that?
Am I the only person that's supposed to stumble upon these, or what?
What's going on? Why is it like brand new and fresh? It's weird.
I feel like these were all set up specifically for me.
Yeah, so hey, Spire the Watcher had some fun. We're waiting on the next one, right, Dalen? There's gonna be a next one. This is the one.
I bought the key for the last season.
There you go. And I think you got everything for the new season, right? Destiny is just, what is it called? Help me.
Finished the latest campaign mission.
Help me with the white people phrases, Dalen. What's the phrase? Is it raking over a coal? Are they raking us over a coal? Is that the phrase?
Dalen's eyes.
Come on, Dalen. Please help me.
I'm trying to think of the phrase, but you said it so
I think
wrong.
that's what it is,
man,
right? They're raking us over a coal.
Stop raking the coals over him, Dalen.
Yeah, exactly. So look, Dalen's just
I
struggling.
think it's something like raking the coals over.
So I got it right. So I got it right. But anyways,
You
yeah,
butcher.
but definitely Destiny knows that it's like, all right, look, we have this audience. $100, please. $100 per entry. It's when they do the little starting at
rake over the coals. There you go.
Raking over the coals. Yeah, they definitely know us. It's like those cars, Dale. I know you're a car person. You know how they say they promote the cars. It's like starting at this much. It's like, yeah, but bullshit. I really want to go 5K over. I think because I'm not gonna have anything involved in this car. Yeah. You're barely giving me anything here. So next we have on here Luis and Deo have been playing the game, not together, right? Maybe I don't think there's co-op or anything like that.
One-player game.
But
I also played this
Ghostwire Tokyo. What have been your thoughts? We'll go to Deo first. What have been your thoughts on this game?
I'm only maybe 4 hours into the game right now, and I'm still learning a lot of stuff. I think it's a very pretty game. I know that a major complaint about the game is that it's not very deep, gameplay wise, and I'm like, for like how long this game is, I think it's perfectly fine. I think it's great in the way that it pays like homage to like Japanese culture and Japanese like current like modern society. Like, cause like I'm gonna humble brag right now, but
I was gonna say you were just
Japan.
there. You were just over there.
It's like, oh, I know this street. It looks just
Dude,
like that street.
I'm not even kidding. There's this part like where you unlock. So if you don't know what the game is, it's an open world type of game, kind of like Ubisoft Assassin's Creed titles recently, and you unlock like parts of the map by going to these shrines. And there was a part where like I didn't know, like I know there's the shrine supposed to be like around this area, but I couldn't find it. And I was like, how do I get around this building in Shibuya Square to get to there? And I was like, wait a minute, I've been here before. Like, that's so weird.
Quite literally.
I was literally lost in that area when I had to jump. Like, there's a bunch of bus stations around that area. So I was like, I don't want to be here. I want to be over here. So I have to walk over through this street to get to there. And legit, I was like right there. I was like, holy crap, that's amazing. But like, there's other things about the game that are really cool. I like how there's like really good horror aspects of the game, which I didn't really expect to be heavy on. But I was like, wow, I'm getting creeped out by this, even more so than I normally would be.
One of my friends was watching me play that game, and he got so creeped out, he actually covered his eyes and walked away. I was like, Jet, are you okay? He was like, man, I can't look at that guy. He's too creepy. I was like, he's Slender Man. You ain't seen Slender Man before.
Yeah, that shit is creepy as hell, man. I hate that.
This is a PlayStation Extra title, I think, or something, right? Maybe
was it on Extra?
Maybe I want
to.
I think so. I thought it was. I might want to upgrade. You kind of.
I have a physical copy of it. Like I said, it's basically Yu Yu Hakusho in Japan.
Yeah, that's a very good description. That's honestly a very good description.
You said a bunch of syllables, Dalen, and none of them made sense to me right now, dude.
It's an anime. It's a Japanese animated cartoon.
Okay, there you go. Luis, what are you thinking about Ghostwire Tokyo, man?
Oh, were you done, Deo?
Yeah, I'm pretty. Like, I want to hear your thoughts too, because like I'm like, am I enjoying it too much? Because people like were ragging on this game a little bit, and I was like, I get it.
I think it's got it.
On the other side of that coin, I was talking with Carlos and Dalen, and I was ready to give up on it, dude. An hour into the game, I stopped playing the game. I was like, there's too much exposition, and none of it really needs to take this long.
That's true.
Yeah, that's very true.
So I actually stopped playing at the end of the exposition and like all those kind of longer cutscenes. And I was like, fine, all right. I was about to delete it. Well, we were on PlayStation. I was like, I'm gonna delete it right now. You know what? No, I'll give it one more shot. Booted it up and I played it for like 3 hours straight. So,
because there was all these little side quests and little additional things that you could do.
You collect so many different things.
Was actually pretty awesome.
I like the one. There's a side quest that's in there called like it's about like a hoarder who like that one was like interesting because like damn, like Japanese people would hella hoard.
Was that the one where the house started shifting on you as you were going through it?
Yeah.
Oh man, that was a crazy.
That was a cool one.
I gotta tinker with this.
The game actually has side quests that are memorable.
One of the key components that Deo said is that it's short, right? Did I hear you incorrectly there, Deo?
I think if you critical path it, I think 6 hours,
yeah, of course,
7 hours like that.
Of course, I'm a critical path man. Of course.
But you got to experience the Hoarder side story and all these other ones.
Hey,
okay.
Not just
critical path. Deo said, check out the Hoarder side story.
You got to collect all the souls that are floating above the places and unlock them this way.
Take that into consideration. Luis, anything else before we kind of? Well, we'll get Dalen. We'll let you get your piece in, Dalen. But Luis, what do you think, man? What else do you think about it?
Yeah, so no, I'm really liking really and only just kind of the way you explore and the character controls. It reminds me a lot of Deus Ex when I played it on the PS4. But that's really the only comparison to Deus Ex right there. Everything else is more like what they were talking about, or like BioShock because of the abilities or whatever. But I like how the game boots up and it's immediately in Japanese. And I was like, fuck it, I'm leaving it. Like, I'm just going to leave it in Japanese then. All right.
I don't think you can change it to English, can you?
I didn't even check, so I don't even know.
I don't think you can. I don't think they have an English audio for it.
Dalen?
Yeah, no, it's fun. Combat's satisfying, and the story is. I mean, just don't take it too seriously, dude. It's it's just kind of put on a podcast or whatever and play this game, Carlos.
I'm all about the wacky stories, though. I'm all about some wackiness, so I guess we'll find out.
It's not even like the story is wacky. It's more like the story is like so. I was watching the story and I was like, why is this guy taking this girl? I don't understand. I understand that the very beginning of the story, a guy is trying to save his sister. That's it. But the main bad guy randomly wants to take his sister. I don't know what the hell's happening with that. And they're off in Phantom Land and you're just trying to save spirits. So the best part about the game is saving the spirits. I don't care about saving my sister. Everything else is
true. That's very true.
Rude.
Wait, this hoarder needs to get back to his house. I help this hoarder out.
Come on.
No, really, it's about saving. It's about saving the spirits that are like trapped in the real world. You're basically the spirit detective and trying to help people move on.
Hey, that being said, I did play a game a couple years ago. I forget what the name is, but it was like it was like a detective game, and you would go through was it True Souls or something like that? I don't know if you remember it, Deo. But you were going through people's souls, I guess, and like
what's system?
I think it might have been PS4. He even had a little fedora hat. He had a cool little fedora, and he was out there investigating shit. He was investigating a train, and you could go into the souls of different things. I think
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think I might have even recommended it to you, Dan. So if it's anything like that, I might be down. But you guys have definitely piqued my interest.
It was something Soul Detective.
Yes, something like that. Soul Detective, which was such a wacky looking game, just looking at it. But I heard very, very positive things about it. So
Murdered Soul Suspect.
Yeah, there you go.
Oh, that game.
But it's not like that, I guess. It's not like that.
Not really.
Okay.
Not really.
Right.
It's a little bit more. It has more action into it and everything because there's a lot more combat. I mean, you unlock.
You're using symbols, shooting fire, switching the wind.
That part is really sick. Actually, the elemental part of those whole things was really cool. And like the creepy ass dolls and like enemies that show up. I'm like, what the hell am I fighting? I hate it, but I'm enjoying killing it. I don't know what it is.
I gotta tinker with this, especially if it's on Plus Supreme. I might even like upgrade that.
Yeah.
Luis, I don't know if you have anything else on that, or if you want to get into kind of what else you've been playing, Luis.
Yeah, so I've been playing Legend of Zelda Link's Awakening. I finally started that up the other day. Never played the original, believe it or not.
That's what I was going to ask you, which version? The Switch one? The Switch sort of remake?
The new Switch version, yeah. And yeah, it's fun. I do like it. It's been a while since I've played a game. I do like that it seems like I didn't play the original, but it feels like they kept sort of that same spirit of it in the sense that they kind of just throw you into the game and you're like, how do I do shit? Like, you just have to kind of
yeah, that's what it was. I still remember that from Link to the Past.
So yeah, I do like that, but they did add those like telephone booths, I guess. I don't know if those were in the original, but you're like, what the fuck do I do? You could like pick up the phone and it goes, maybe check out the prairie or whatever. You're like, all right, fine.
Yeah.
So I do like it. I like the combat. I like all the different kinds of enemies and the like dungeons and stuff in there, but this game drops a lot of frames, like all the time.
On a top-down claymation-looking game.
The performance, really?
Ooh. Yeah, like
isn't it a remake?
It is, but it's not like it's running super terribly, but it is noticeable. Like, you do notice a shift sometimes where like there's a lot of grass on the screen, and then you're like, oh, wait a minute. Like, and then as soon as you kind of cut all the grass away, the frames come back, and you're like, So
Wow.
it's maybe it's more something like it goes from like 25 to 30 frames or something, but it's not like that huge, but it is noticeable to me.
Now, now that you kind of describe it that way, those games have sort of a little like slow down ish when Link attacks. That's not what you're talking about, though. Like I think
no, there's frame drop.
Okay, it's literal.
He's
frame
talking
drop.
about there's too much stuff on the screen.
Yeah.
Everything's moving, so you take some of it away, and suddenly the game is picking.
But you guys know what I'm talking about, though, right? As far as like some of these Link games or Zelda games, there's kind of when he attacks, there is a little bit of like giving you that moment of impact, sort of, right? But frame rate drops are nasty, man. And
That's
this
amazing.
is we
need a Switch Pro, man. We need a new one.
We need the Switch Pro. Nintendo, what are you doing?
So how many dungeons in are you, Luis? Or
Well, do you get an instrument every dungeon you do?
Basically,
yeah, I think so. That's kind of how it generally
So right
works.
now I'm on the third one.
Okay, nice. I did. Oh, no one's on. Huh?
Do you only have the 3 bass instruments, or the 2
I have
bass
like
instruments?
a cello and a flute or some shit.
Yeah. Okay.
Somehow they're trying to get Call of Duty on this thing, dude. I don't know how they're gonna do it.
Microsoft said.
Awakening is
Microsoft said that's what they're gonna do. Yeah. So it's funny. This is one of those games that I did go when this was coming out. I did go back and play the Game Boy. The Game Boy Color edition on Vita, or not on Vita, on PSP. But it's one of those. I was like, I'm gonna play through this, and then I'm gonna play the new one. But from what I understand, it's basically a 1-to-1, right? So I was like, I don't know. And I haven't gone back to play it, but I definitely want to tinker with this kind of sort of a remake of Link's Awakening. Anything else, Luis?
It's fun. It's good. I haven't had a game that like I didn't want to put down in a long time, and this is that game right now for me where I'm like, I got 10 minutes, let me pick it up again. So check it out, dude.
It's a sign of a good game. Dale, you talking about the goat? You giving us a little more goat talk here?
Actually, it's not the goat anymore.
Oh,
from what I've been playing.
Come on, man. What's going on here?
Is that smoke I see?
So I got to a part where you need the gravity suit, which allows you to move freely through water.
Yeah.
And to jump in.
We're talking about Metroid Prime, right?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. Yes, we're talking about Metroid Prime. Yes.
Yeah. So for people on the mic to know, he's talking about Metroid Prime.
Metroid Prime Remastered. Metroid Prime Remastered. Yes. Okay. So what's going on with this gravity suit?
Talking about Metroid Prime. Yeah. So the one thing, like, okay, I remember as a kid, I liked doing all this stuff, and I had the time to do it. Just like I kind of want to just venture on my own, but the game doesn't allow you to do it because it wants to funnel you to get these particular items, right? In order to unlock levels to progress, which is like the total MO of Metroidvania games, right?
Yeah.
But I completely forgot about this area and how much I freaking hated it, especially when I was a little boy. That you go into the stupid pirate ship, and if you don't have Samus's gravity suit, it takes forever to come out of it. Not only that, but there's platforming in that pirate ship underwater while enemies are fucking sucking you off of the platform.
Crazy!
We're gonna bleep that out
because that's what happens. Like you're trying to energize your gun, and then it gets attracted to the enemy, and it pushes you off of the platform. And I was like, oh my god, it took me like 10 times to try to jump my way out of that whole damn section. And I was ready to just throw away the cart. I was so aggravated. I was like, I gotta make my lunch right now. I can't be spending
I gotta make my lunch right now. I've got things to do.
This stupid thing to go find the gravity suit again. Because I'm not using any
guides or anything. Yeah.
Guides or anything, and I don't even remember like half of this stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm just like, oh my god.
That is one of those things.
That is one of those things. Hey, but aside from the frustration of the pirate ship, is the game good?
Hell yeah, it's good.
There you go.
He knows the answer. He knows the answer, Dalen.
Hey, the answer is games used to be good.
Games used to be good. But this is like a part of it that I'm like, okay, it's showing its age right here. Maybe they could have done something different. I don't know, be more open with exploration. But I don't know. I'm not a game designer. I don't know how you could fix something like that. And if you want to be true to the original game,
it's an older design, right? But and to be fair though, that gravity suit, like as soon as you start dealing with that adversity, if you're paying attention, it's pretty close by. The gravity suit is pretty close. You just have to find it. You just have to find it.
Right. And like at the same time, it's just like, okay, this is your dumb gamer brain trying to like treat everything like it's Call of Duty or like, you know, a Sony title where it's like, oh, I could blow through this like really easy, through this level super easy, and I'll just finish my 15 minutes of gaming time and then set it down and be satisfied that I made some progress. Yeah. But like, you know, after I was done thinking about it, I was like, okay, this is like this is the way the game punishes me for trying to be too open and free when I should be going, like I know I should be getting all these certain items in this order and I should be finding upgrades to do this. So I'm like, okay, I learned my lesson being an idiot.
Yeah, it's definitely one of those things that, yes, it's not as free as you would think. You're going through a script because you got to get these power-ups to go everywhere else, right? Kind of.
Yeah, the game isn't broken because I'm still allowed to leave the area and go do what I need to go do. So I'm just saying, like, I'm just frustrated. That was me.
We're here for your therapy to hopefully you get back to enjoying the goat, man.
Dude, like other than that, the game is like, geez, it gives you very little exposition. Everything's through the reading of the lore and scanning of the Chozo ruins and their literature and whatever. I was like, damn, this is amazing. It's so good, in fact, that I went through on YouTube like 4 retrospectives of the entire Zelda Metroid franchise. Yeah. And like one going through like chronologically how it worked, one going through all the Metroid media, like including like there's graphic novels and like other kind of things and these conspiracy ones. I was like, damn,
look, I've said it before. It's the GOAT, but it's unfortunate. Well, I don't know if it's unfortunate, but it's just the reality that Metroid to Nintendo is like the redheaded stepchild, man. It's like we have Mario, we have Zelda, and then every so often we'll throw you guys a bone with the new Metroid or whatever. But
like it's like every time you have a
redheaded stepchild is Sonic right now.
From Nintendo, Dalen. From Nintendo.
Yes, Nintendo owns Sonic.
I mean, I feel like that's
no, they don't. What are you talking
about? See, look, hey, Deo always takes
your portion of
Dalen. Deo always takes your side, and he finally cracked. He was like, "What are you talking about, Dalen?" And I appreciate it.
Trying to keep setting up in Nintendo games.
So, anything else to kind of finish up on your latest on Metroid Prime, Dale? Anything else?
No, I agree with you. Like, it's so weird that like every time a major Nintendo console came out, that doesn't necessarily mean you were gonna get a Metroid game, which is like kind of scary for a franchise.
But you wish you did.
I wish.
And look, we got
Dread.
Look, yeah, that's what I was gonna say. We've gotten 1.5, right? Because this was a kind of remake, sort of cleaned up version. But we did get Dread, so and Dread's pretty damn good.
Can't complain.
Dalen, me and you did play, or we've been playing Resident Evil 4. My thing is really quick. It's just like I mentioned earlier, I've done the second run. I am working on a third run, but it's definitely one of those like 15-minute. You know how you said.
So you're gonna do it. You're gonna go
little by little, because I'm trying to beat. I'm the next thing I'm talking about Jedi Fallen Order. I'm trying to beat that, but I'm giving it. Like Dale just mentioned it, like little 10 minutes, 15 minutes of my time here and there, and I'm like, I got like an infinity gun, dude, that I want to enjoy. That's the thing with
ammo.
And what happened, Dale?
You mean the infinite ammo?
Yeah, the infinite ammo, the best gun that you can get. And they actually added Mercenaries mode to where if you get S rating on Mercenary modes on each of the 3 levels, which it's not that hard. I'm not the best gamer, and I got S rating on each one and like 1 try on 2 of them and like 2 or 3 tries on one of the maps. And you get the hand cannon, which you can upgrade to infinite ammo. And I'm like, fuck, maybe I can't do it. Maybe I can't play through this game 6 times. So I'm kind of working on that. But what have you thought of Resident Evil 4, Dalen? Have you beaten it yet, or you're still kind of working through it?
I'm definitely still working through it. I barely cracked any part of that game, but I got a feel for it once again, and I'm still thinking to myself, every time I get to another section, I'm like, damn, I remember this place now. I fucking hated it. And I get to the next part. Damn, I remember this place, and I fucking hated it.
Damn, you didn't really like Resident Evil 4, huh? And meanwhile, the guy was like, what are you buying? what are you selling? What are you?
Hey, at least they kept them. They just straight up changed the way that the shop works. But the game definitely looks way more beautiful. Now they have these little side quests that you can do. The medallions are in specific sections for the side quests, so you can't just outright miss them in all cases. As long as you have like I forgot what they're called. The little note things that you can get. They're the side missions.
The merchant quest or requests or something like that.
There are little quests that you can find, and it tells you that there are like 5 medallions in this area or something like that. And that definitely it can save you a lot of time.
I hope you appreciate the ones where he's like, kill 3 rats, and I'm like, okay, now I'm an exterminator.
Hey, no, what I did, there's a point where you end up losing all your weapons and all you got is a knife. I saw these rats, I was like, screw it, I'm gonna kill these rats, and I stabbed one, and it said 1 out of 3. I was like, oh. I didn't even have it yet.
Yeah.
So I murdered all 3 rats before I even got my weapons back. But yeah, the game is still definitely excellent. They definitely changed it in ways that it makes it fun nowadays, rather than just just giving it a new skin. It's definitely a kind of a brand new game. It doesn't play
I mean
like the other ones.
And just going off of like as revolutionary as the original like release of it was still sort of tank controls ish, right? It was still kind of like you have to stop and point and shoot.
Oh,
so just the
that messes me up. Being able to run in a circle like that messes me up. I know it sounds weird when I say it.
Oh, it is weird. Doesn't just sound
I'm
weird.
used to having the camera behind me like at all times and being able to turn around. I don't need to press down in R1 to do the U-turn, though you can, but I could just turn Leon around really fast. And he turns around, but the camera doesn't. I was like, son of a bitch. I can't see what's behind me.
It's super nice, Dylan. It's super nice.
I'll tell you one thing I do miss, though. This is the last thing I'll say about Resident Evil 4 in this case. The one thing I do miss is when you go into a room when you're being chased by the people that are infected by the Las Plagas, you used to be able to like push a bookshelf in front of the door or something like that, and it took longer for them to get in. You do not have time to do that.
Hey man, when new controls comes, you better act quick. You better act quick. So it's kind of it's a little bit of a game changer. But I think they did a lot of things right, man. It just feels so nice. It feels so nice. As good as it's kind of how you think or remember Resident Evil 4, but it's not like that. Go ahead, Dale.
Quick question. Do you guys miss like the knife thing being like a constant, or?
Oh, you're talking about the fact that it breaks?
Yeah. Did you get to like upgrade out of that, or how does that work?
You could fix your main knife, but they still give you a bunch of little knives. So you end up finding a bunch of little knives along the way.
Spoiler alert, Dale. You can get infinite knife at some point. That's the reason that I'm like,
you can get infinite anything. I can points for it.
Yeah, so it's kind of one of those things that because of these cool weapons that you get after every run, or you get like going up to finishing your runs, it's like, maybe I can play it 5 more times. Maybe it is gonna be fun enough to play it way more times.
I don't know if you remember, Dale, but there's a level where you're being attacked by a whole bunch of lickers, right?
Yeah.
And
yes.
you could kill all those lickers and get a bunch of diamonds from it. Back in the day, I used to run that stage over and over again in order to get a bunch of diamonds, just so I could buy infinite ammo with as many guns as I could. In this game, you can still buy infinite ammo at some point. So
yeah, but I don't know if it. Yeah, I don't know if there's any like glitchy type of things like that. I think that's probably like you just have to keep running it. You keep running it, and you keep getting cool shit. I'm like, maybe I do want to run it a couple more times.
What kind of games are you guys playing on here? Getting licked and sucked off and all this kind of stuff?
Just phrasing. Just phrasing.
Oh my god, I'm gonna make a video edit of all
him and his
just
sucked
phrasing.
off. I don't know what to tell you, man. He was suctioned off the boat. Okay, let's change that word.
Well,
Thank you.
Like the other thing I'd basically been playing is Jedi Fallen Order. I don't know if I'll get to it. From what I understand, it's like a 10-15 hour game, or closer to 15. But I'm trying to critical path it. Last time I played it wasn't this smooth. Now I have the 60 frames per second option, super smooth. He runs weird as hell. I don't know if you guys remember. It's so wacky.
He needs a crap in his pants or something.
There's a lot going on.
He's got the Siphon filter run. We know.
There's a lot going on with that, but it's the visceral feel of the lightsaber and just how you slice things up and how they figured out. I was like, this is this way, right? It's not super accurate, but it's fun. Did
you master like countering? Because that's like so satisfying.
I'm parrying out here, man. After what is it, Bayonetta? Bayonetta got me into like, okay, I kind of like parrying now. So now that I'm parrying, it's kind of a little more fun. I think I've made more progress than when I first started playing it. And of course, it wears its influences on his sleeve. It's very Uncharted, right? Where he's kind of like climbing. It's like, oh, you miss one of the handholds or whatever it is. But I'm having fun with it. I hope that by next week that we're back on the show, I would have beaten it, but I don't know. It's like I said, this game, the new one comes out in like 3 or 4 days, so I don't know if I'll beat it in time, but I'm working towards it. Dalen, we'll finish it off with you, man. What are the last couple games you've been playing here, man, before we get up out of here?
All right, so I already talked about the Resident Evil remake, or at least as much as I have played of it. I did play the Street Fighter 6 demo.
Ooh.
And yes, I actually got into it. I had one of my friends over, and we actually played it locally, so I got to play a little 1v1 at that particular point. Their new art style, like if you remember the art style when they jumped into Street Fighter 4, they started doing the whole paint thing that was going across the screen a lot. They leaned into that hard, and they're trying to make this game super edgy. For the demo, you only get to play with 2 people. You get to play with Ryu, who is now a murder hobo, basically, and
hobo.
One of the new characters, Luke. He basically looks like Popeye because he's got big old forearms.
He looks a lot better in Street Fighter 6 than he does in 5. In 5, he has those Popeye arms. But he has these weird, because like
continues.
Weird veins.
Weird veins in there, and it's so gross.
So it's not as veiny in this case, because I didn't even notice it for a minute. That's his
the
arm,
clips
man.
of this show that I'm
gonna
collect. Oh my god.
Okay,
but,
continue.
But the game is like super colorful. They're trying to be more edgy. We were actually doing the actual gameplay itself, and one of the things that I actually appreciate about this particular Street Fighter is that it is more like Street Fighter Third Strike. Dale, you probably played it.
Yes.
Carlos, you probably don't remember at all. Luis, I don't know if you played. How many
hey, I was like, what is he gonna say about me? Fair. I mean, I kind of remember playing it, but yeah, fair. Fair.
But Third Strike, you get at the very beginning, you get to choose which special you're going to use. But in this case, you actually do have all 3 specials, but they're all on a different level. So your basic super is level 1, you have a different super at level 2, and then you have your ultimate at level 3. That's it. And then you have your regular move set, and it actually takes some technique to actually get stuff.
Are you convinced enough to pick it up when this drops?
I might actually be. On top of that, they actually have an extra versus mode. It's like Extreme Battle or something like that, where they start adding in extra effects. Like they give you the demo of that extreme mode, and you only have the choice of first person to get 5 knockdowns wins, and every so often a bull will run through the stage.
Okay,
and that was a very random thing to have happen. It'll tell you when the bull is coming. It's got a big bar on the left or right side of the screen.
Does the demo do online play or is this local?
It does not. It is just local.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. That was
man. My child is definitely gonna join me if I download the demo. It's gonna join me.
You can still turn on the AI for it, but definitely play it with somebody else if you have a chance.
I mean that's the fun of it, right? That's the fun of it.
But quite honestly, for a Street Fighter game, I feel like they did a great job of updating the mechanics. Even though they tried to do that edgy paint thing with the art style, outside of that, I bet you the game is going to be just excellent.
Run smooth. It's a 2D fighter, but kind of 3D graphics.
Yes,
or you feel the weight. I think the last time I played Street Fighter 4, you feel the weight of the 3D, if that makes sense what I'm saying. I don't know.
Well, the characters definitely feel heavier in the way that they have their
wait, what was that, Dale? What was that, Dale? Was that a phrase?
I said no. I just said sure, yes.
Sure.
Yes, Carlos.
Yeah, we get it.
We understand.
Yes. Sort of clouds. Just kidding.
All right. So the last
fair.
game that
That's
I played.
fair.
The last game that I played though is I didn't actually put it on my on the rundown, but Dead Space remake, tape solved. I beat that game.
Okay.
I ran through it hard, and one of the things that still that I found out originally after the game dropped back in like 2006, whatever it was, the titles of every stage. They actually have a nice little Easter egg to it. I'm not going to tell you what it is because I don't want to put it on wax. But it helped me keep track of where I was in the game. And the game felt shorter. It's like a 10, 16 hour game. And it's very, very critical pathy. So you can do your little line thing, but you do not have to do side stuff at all. You can just critical path it and beat the game and be good.
It feels shorter than the actual game length to me. That's what it felt like, with the exception of the last 2 levels, which was kind of annoying. But other than that,
that's only because when you get to the last couple of levels, they start doing the Metroidvania thing really hard. You got to go back and forth a whole lot. But you're not going back and forth across the ship. It's just like one section where the room is like you got to clear all this gunk that's blocking all the doors, and you just got to go through door number 1, let's go back. Through door number 2, go back. Through door number 3, go back. A lot of motion
in your over there. Dalen, people don't know, but that office is like, you're pushing the limits, dude, of the perimeter of that office. Dalen, thank you for regaling. Okay, Dalen. So look, it's been a show. Carlos Macias. Something about H.G. Geiger or something, him being weird.
H.R. Geiger.
H.I. Geiger being weird with tentacles and other things.
Whoa, Carlos. No, you just got to find this forgotten and controversial artwork, sir.
Dalen Kirkwood from up in the mountain. Your internet definitely held up this time, sir. Thank you for joining us.
Keeping it wacky.
Okay, little gun motion there. Okay, reasonable. Little gun, little. Okay, no, but Dalen kept doing this though. Deo Blas, the king of Mid-Bay, thank you for joining us, sir. Good luck to your Warriors. They're definitely in a series. It's a series right now.
Good luck to your Clippers. Don't do it,
man. It's gonna close that. They're gonna close that thing out today, man. Tuesday on that, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Luis? Do we have any hope that the Clippers get a W?
If PG comes back, maybe. But I don't think Kawhi is.
Yeah, Kawhi might be. But whatever, man.
Man,
thank
let
you.
them live their lives.
Thank you for joining us, Dale. Luis Mendes on the Wheels of Style. The Wheels of Steel, not style. It could be style too. It could be style too.
Getting licked or sucked off out, unless you're
man, this is an after hours episode. Salient Points.
Comb through this episode and find all the good
Salient
stuff.
Points after hours. Expect that extended cut or whatever at some point.
You're gonna put an NSFW label on this.
It's gonna be rough, man. That thing, you get demonetized. We're not even monetized, so go for it, YouTube. Go for it. Demonetize us.
Go for it, YouTube.
Take the money we don't already have from YouTube. All right, YouTube, just take it. Whatever, man. Take the 0 cents. All right. Well, we'll see you guys next time.